One American News, we are very happy to have back on Matt Tyrmand. Matt, you're an expert in politics, doing analysis both in the U.S. and here in Poland. Tell me about the impact of the new LNG deal that the Trump administration has signed with Poland.
Poland just signed a 24-year LNG importation of American LNG. Now, if you recall, this was a big reason that Trump came to Warsaw initially. It was obviously the political philosophy alignment between populism in the U.S. with Trumpism and populism in Poland with law and justice. But he was very gung-ho about Three Seas Initiative, this idea of getting the dozen nations between the Baltic and the Black and the Adriatic Sea, 120 million people, who all have this really overhanging economic and security risk about energy.
So currently, essentially all of these countries, they're getting their gas through the pipeline from Russia.
A lot of it's from Russia. There's also some coming from Norway, and that's why there's this big debate about Nord Stream 2, where Germany's doing a deal with Russia, where they're basically running a pipeline from Russia straight to Germany.
The second pipeline.
Yeah, the second pipeline, where they're just going to bypass all of Central Europe. Central Europe's really, really worried about this because energy now equals security, as we know in America, as OPEC has shown over the last 20 years. When there's shocks to the system, there are really big security implications.
And I remember when Trump did come to Warsaw, one of the things, and you saw signs of this in the crowd, it said, "We need gas," and it said, "We need gas," and it said it in English. And I remember a lot of people those signs actually went pretty viral because people were saying, "What does that mean? What is that about?"
Well, so one of Morawiecki's major legacy items when he was head of the Ministry of Development was he opened the Lech Kaczyński Świnoujście LNG offloading terminal in the Baltic. And it's really great because you see where this terminal is. It's right over the German border in Pomerania at the Baltic. And that's the entry point to all of Central and Eastern Europe. And so you've got the four Visegrad countries, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia. You've got the three Baltics, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. You've got Austria. You've got a bunch of the former Yugoslav republics all coming online to work on economic cooperation, kind of what the EU is supposed to be, but evolved into sort of political posturing.
Instead of doing with the EU, they're doing with Donald Trump.
Yeah, with Donald Trump. And it makes perfect sense to have this sort of initiative building now as a counterweight both to Western Europe and the EU and the Brussels sort of philosophical diktats, as well as Russia as a geopolitical threat on the other side. The tie that's going to bind economically is energy, is transferring energy. Now America, as you know, and you've reported very well in One America, is now the greatest producer of raw energy, LNG and oil.
If you look at crude, you can go right to January 2017 and that shoots straight up.
It's very, very smart that Poland is aligned on this sort of geopolitical level with the U.S. around energy security, raw source diversity, and with that you also get the added incentive that the American military is now even higher, has a higher interest in protecting a major energy consumption counterparty and building permanent basing on the NATO peripheral border. We're going to be a great economic trading partner.
And let me just ask you, what does Vladimir Putin think about U.S. troops being put into Poland?
So he's not happy about this. You know, there's one of the reasons why you see so many active measures and info ops going on in Poland, because they want to create a ideological rift with the American public and Central Europe, because they're very scared about both these things. The economic impact of Central Europe getting all their energy from Texas and from the Permian Basin and the Dakota and the Bakken Shale and the Marcellus in Pennsylvania. Yeah. America is now such an incredible producer of raw energy, so Putin sees that. It's an economic impact to him that's adverse. And then you also have the higher incentive structure for the U.S. to now preserve this most favored nation trading status, and then to preserve the NATO peripheral border. And by the way, Trump, he gets it. He knows that if he starts putting permanent basing in eastern Poland on the NATO peripheral border, what Russia collusion, when you're basically breathing down Putin's neck. This is his #1 priority, is to keep NATO as far away from the Russian sphere of influence as possible. The Russian sphere of influence is Belarus, and that's where the basing is going to go.
So it's right in that northeast corridor.
Sort of like, it's called the corridor, the gap, where it's between Kaliningrad and Belarus has been very much part of the Soviet military sphere, and the Polish government's done very good outreach with Belarus as well. That's the one good thing the foreign ministry has really been effective is opening stronger ties to shift Belarus looking a little bit more westward than eastward, and Lukashenko gets that his future is probably looking westward. So this energy transfer, I talked to President Duda about this the other night. He's thrilled about it. For both Duda, for both Morawiecki, this is really a big part of their legacy. If they can get Poland consuming all of their energy from the U.S., it equals economic freedom, it equals security, the implications for U.S. and Polish trade, and then the political dynamic with the two populous conservative nations really getting along. This is wonderful. So
sounds like net positives everywhere. A win-win situation on all sides. Matt, thank you so much for sitting down with us and sharing your wealth of expertise.
I appreciate it. My pleasure.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.